it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, really get that promotion, maybe just get along better with folks day to day. It always seems to boil down to dealing with people, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's the core skill.
And you want to get better at it fast without, having to read stacks of books. So let's jump in.
Well, today we're digging into what many consider the definitive guide here. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, the classic.
The classic. Yeah, that this isn't some passing fad. It's like foundational stuff for people's schools. Sold over 30 million copies worldwide since 1936.
Wow, 30 million.
Yeah, and get this, it went through 17 editions in its first year.
17. Okay, that definitely says something about hitting a nerve. So our goal today is basically to pull out the really core wisdom from this powerhouse book. We're looking for those practical, no-nonsense ideas that can actually give you an edge, boost your confidence, make you more influential, just make things work better with people without the homework feel.
Exactly. We're zeroing in on, let's say, the fundamental ways to handle people, those 6 key ways to make people genuinely like you, and then the 12 principles for, winning them over to your way of thinking.
Perfect. Consider this your kind of streamlined tour through a classic. Okay, let's get into part 1. Fundamental techniques in handling people. Right off the bat, Carnegie says, avoid criticism, condemnation, and complaining. Seems simple, but there's more to it, yeah.
Oh, definitely. The core idea is that criticism, it's pretty much futile. It doesn't really inspire change mostly. It just stirs up resentment.
Right.
People tend to rationalize what they did.
Yeah.
Look for excuses rather than point the finger at themselves. So criticizing just makes them defensive.
Yeah, it's like a reflex, isn't it? Protect the ego. Carnegie mentions some interesting quotes here. Dr. Johnson saying, even God waits till the end to judge.
Exactly. And Confucius talking about cleaning your own doorstep first. Carlyle saying greatness is shown by how you treat lesser men, as he put it. These aren't just old sayings. They tap into basic human nature. The real point isn't just to, zip your lip, but to actively try and understand why the other person did what they did before you even think about judging.
Okay, so understanding before judging.
That shift can make all the difference.
Yeah, and for, busy people like us, always trying to learn efficiently, focusing on understanding rather than jumping to criticism that feels like it cuts out a lot of wasted energy, right?
Yeah.
Less conflict, more moving forward.
Totally. Less drama.
Okay, so the second principle. Give honest and sincere appreciation. This feels like the other side of the coin to avoiding criticism.
It really is. Carnegie believed that deep down, everyone has this powerful craving to feel important, to feel valued. And when you offer genuine appreciation, you're feeding that need. And that, in turn, is a huge motivator. And it has to be sincere. Not flattery.
Oh, absolutely. Flattery is just hollow, isn't it? Usually feels manipulative and people can often, spot it a mile away. But real appreciation, when you genuinely see something good in someone or their effort, that hits differently. Emerson said something like, every person I meet is my superior in some way.
Yeah, finding that thing to appreciate. And there's that quote, I shall pass this way but once. Basically, do the good you can now.
Right, don't wait.
And Charles Schwab, the industrialist, he was convinced his best asset was his ability to build enthusiasm through appreciation and encouragement. He knew feeling valued makes people perform better.
Yeah.
The real aha moment here, I think, is realizing that looking for chances to give sincere praise isn't just about being nice. It's actually a smart strategy for influencing people positively.
That story about Stevie Wonder is powerful too. How his teacher appreciating his amazing hearing early on was so crucial for him.
Yeah, it really shaped things for him. Shows the impact of recognizing those unique strengths.
Okay, which leads nicely into the third fundamental technique. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This is all about tapping into their desires, right? What makes them tick?
Exactly that. Carnegie uses that great analogy about fishing.
Oh yeah, the worms versus strawberries and cream.
Right. You don't bait the hook with strawberries because you like them. You use worms because that's what the fish wants.
Makes sense.
It's about shifting your focus entirely. What do they want? What are their goals, their needs?
So to influence someone, you've got to frame things in terms of their interests. Show them how your idea helps them get what they want. William Winter mentioned that strong drive for self-expression.
And Harry Overstreet was blunt about it. First, arouse in the other person an eager want. He who can do this has the whole world with him. It's about alignment.
Finding that overlap.
Yeah. Henry Ford always talked about seeing from the other guy's perspective. Owen D. Young thought understanding others was key to future success. So, the quick takeaway, understanding and appealing to someone's desires isn't sneaky. It's just effective communication. Speaking their language. Got it. Okay, let's shift gears. Part 2. 6 ways to make people like you. This is the juicy stuff everyone wants, right? The secret sauce. Principle 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. And the key word is genuinely.
Absolutely critical. It can't be an act. If you actually cultivate real interest in others, you naturally become more engaging. You'll build connections way faster than if you're just, trying to impress them or steer everything back to yourself.
That rarely works long term, does it?
No, those selfish attempts just fall flat. Alfred Adler apparently said that people who aren't interested in others face the biggest problems in life.
Wow, that's strong.
It is. And Publius Syrus pointed out that we tend to get interested in people when they show interest in us. It's reciprocal.
Yeah, like attracts in a way, show you care. And they're more likely to care back?
Exactly. And you can show it in simple ways, like greeting people warmly, with real enthusiasm. That makes a difference. Remembering names, birthdays, little details. It shows you're paying attention, that you value them.
Those small things add up. They really do. They have a big impact on how someone feels about you.
Okay, principle 2, smile. Seems almost too simple. What's the power there?
Don't underestimate the smile. It's incredibly powerful for first impressions. It's like a universal signal of goodwill, says you're approachable, friendly.
Like that old Chinese proverb, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It highlights how crucial that positive vibe is. Lincoln even suggested happiness is largely a choice, meaning we can choose to put on a smile.
And that can actually affect how you feel, right? William James's idea.
Yeah, act cheerful, and you might start to feel more cheerful. Shakespeare said, "There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." Our perception matters, and James McConnell's research pointed out encouragement beats punishment. A smile is pure encouragement.
So even forcing a smile can sometimes kickstart a better feeling and definitely improve how others see you. Okay, number 3. Remember and use the other person's name. This one resonates with me. When someone remembers my name, it instantly feels better, more personal.
It's huge. Because as Carnegie says, your name is like the sweetest sound to you. It's tied directly to your identity. Using it shows respect, acknowledges their individuality, makes them feel seen.
Emerson called good manners petty sacrifices. Remembering a name fits that, doesn't it? Takes a little effort.
It does. But the payoff and connection is worth it. Even that politician's creed thing, remembering a voter's name is statesmanship. Forgetting it is disaster.
Shows how important it is perceived to be.
Definitely. So yeah, developing a system, whatever works for you, repeating the name, making an association, it's a skill worth practicing. That conscious effort matters.
Right. Okay, number 4. Be a good listener. Let others talk often. This one might be a challenge for people who like to talk.
Laughs, it can be. But it's so effective. When you really listen, actively listen, and encourage people to share their stuff, they perceive you as a great conversationalist.
Interesting, because they enjoy talking about themselves.
Pretty much. People love talking about their interests, their experiences, their wins. Giving them that platform makes them feel heard, valued.
The book even says a sympathetic listener can disarm someone who's hostile. Just being heard can diffuse anger.
It absolutely can. Think of Edward Bok, the editor. He built relationships just by asking famous people about their childhoods and then just listening.
Compare that to the person who just hijacks every conversation. Not usually the most popular person in the room.
Not at all. Dr. Butler at Columbia apparently called self-absorbed people hopelessly uneducated.
Ouch.
And Reader's Digest joked, people see a doctor when they just need an audience. Isaac Marcuson noted how rare good listeners are.
It's true.
Harvard's Charles Eliot said giving undivided attention is a huge compliment. And Jack Woodford, he said, rapt attention is flattery few can resist. It all comes back to making them feel important.
Makes sense. Okay, 5th principle. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. This connects back to that eager want idea, doesn't it?
Directly, yeah. The fastest route to someone's goodwill, let's say, is talking about what matters to them, not just ramming your own interests down their throat.
Right.
If you consistently try to understand their passions, what lights them up, and talk about that, they'll be way more positive towards you.
So maybe doing a little homework before meeting someone. Finding out what they're into.
That can be incredibly effective, yeah. Shows you care, makes you seem more agreeable, more influential in their eyes.
Okay. And the 6th key to being liked, sincerely make the other person feel important. This feels like it ties everything together.
It really does. It's the culmination. The goal is genuine, heartfelt appreciation that makes people feel significant.
Because that's a fundamental human need.
One of the deepest, according to Carnegie. If you consistently find ways to make people feel genuinely important, they'll naturally like you. Even small courtesies, thank you, I appreciate your input.
Yeah.
They land well.
Disraeli's line comes to mind. Talk to people about themselves and they will listen for hours.
Laughs. Pretty much. And Emerson, again, saying everyone's superior in some way, it pushes us to look for those good qualities we can honestly admire and mention. Find the value and acknowledge it.
Good stuff. Okay, let's move to part 3. How to win people to your way of thinking. This is about persuasion, influence. Principle 1. Avoid arguments. That feels tricky, especially when you feel strongly about something.
It does feel counterintuitive. But Carnegie's point is that the best way to get the better of an argument is just don't have it.
Why? Because nobody really wins.
Exactly. Even if you score points with logic, you often lose the person's goodwill. People rarely change their minds just because they lost a verbal sparring match. Usually they just dig their heels in more, feeling resentful. You know the saying, a man convinced against his will.
It means have the same opinions still.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you avoid them? The book has strategies, right?
Yeah, practical stuff. Welcome the disagreement as a chance to learn. Keep your cool. Really listen to understand their view. Find any scrap of common ground. Be honest. Admit if you might be wrong. Promise to think about their points and thank them for sharing.
That's a whole toolkit right there.
It is. Think of Buddha. Hatred ends with love, not more hatred. Lincoln avoided sharp personal fights. Ben Franklin realized arguing might win the point but lose the person. The real win is preserving the relationship and maybe finding common ground.
Okay, makes sense. Principle 2, show respect for other people's opinions. Never say you're wrong. Oof, that's a hard habit to break if you think you're right.
It is tough, but flat out telling someone you're wrong is like slamming a door in their face.
Yeah.
It puts them instantly on defense. Their beliefs are often tied up with their identity, so it feels personal.
Even if you have the facts.
Even then, a more diplomatic route is almost always better. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about judging people by their principles. King Aktoy advised diplomacy way back in ancient Egypt. Right. Galileo knew you guide people to knowledge, you don't hammer it in. Lord Chesterfield said, be wiser, but do not tell them so. And Socrates claiming to know nothing, that opens people up.
So using phrases like, I see it differently, or I could be wrong, but is much better.
Way better. Far more persuasive than a blunt contradiction.
Okay. Principle 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and definitively. This requires some humility.
It does, but it's incredibly disarming. When you own your mistake up front, quickly, emphatically, it often takes all the fight out of the other person. They were maybe gearing up to point it out, and you beat them to it.
And it can actually build respect.
Often, yes. Shows character. There's that old saying, by yielding, you get more than you expected. Albert Hubbard openly invited correction from his readers. Being upfront about your own fallibility makes others more forgiving.
Okay, I like that. Principle 4. Begin in a friendly way, setting the right tone from the start.
Absolutely crucial. Even if you're annoyed or expecting conflict, initiating with warmth can completely change the dynamic. Starting negatively usually leads to a negative spiral.
Yeah, if they come at you angry and you match it, explosion.
Right. But a calm, friendly approach can de-escalate things, make them more open. Remember, Lincoln's drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall.
Good analogy.
Woodrow Wilson pushed for counsel over confrontation. Daniel Webster's speeches often started by respectfully acknowledging the audience's judgment, setting that non-adversarial stage.
Clever. Okay, 5th principle, get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. The Socratic method, basically.
That's the idea. Start with things you both agree on. Ask easy yes questions. Build that momentum of agreement.
Why does that work?
Psychologically, each yes makes the next yes easier. It gets them nodding along, moving in your direction mentally before you get to the main point. Like that Chinese proverb, he who treads softly goes far.
Subtle but effective. Okay, number 6, let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Back listening again.
It keeps coming back, doesn't it? Encourage them to elaborate, share their perspective fully. Often they'll kind of talk themselves towards a solution or understanding, and crucially, they'll feel better about you because you listened.
People do like to tell their stories, their struggles, their wins.
They do. La Rochefoucauld had that interesting observation about how we feel when friends outshine us versus when we let them shine. Letting them talk puts the spotlight on them, which builds rapport.
Okay, principle 7. Let the other person feel the idea is his or hers. Fostering ownership.
Yes. People are way more invested in ideas they feel they originated or at least co-created.
So instead of, here's my great idea, it's more like making suggestions, asking questions, guiding them so they feel like they reach the conclusion.
Exactly. Makes them feel smart, valued. Lao Tzu's idea of the sage putting himself last to become first fits here. It's indirect influence.
Emerson's thought, too, recognizing our own rejected ideas in works of genius, suggests the best ideas tap into something already there.
Precisely. Okay, principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Empathy strikes again.
It's fundamental, isn't it? Understanding why they think or feel that way, their background, their pressures, not just judging the surface viewpoint.
Absolutely. Dean Donham preparing for interviews by figuring out the other person's needs is a perfect example. Dr. Nirenberg said, cooperation happens when you show you value their ideas and feelings as much as your own.
Right. Principle 9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. We all want understanding.
Deep down, yes. The book gives that magic phrase, doesn't it? I don't blame you. If I were in your shoes, I'd feel the same way.
That's powerful. It validates their feelings without necessarily agreeing with their stance.
Exactly. It diffuses defensiveness. Dr. Arthur Gates said we all crave sympathy. It's a universal need.
Okay, almost there. Principle 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. Tap into their desire to be seen as good people.
Right. People generally prefer to see themselves and be seen by others as fair, honest, unselfish. Carnegie suggests people often have two reasons for doing things. The one that sounds good and the real one. Appeal to the one that sounds good.
Got it. Principle 11. Dramatize your ideas. Make them vivid, not just dry facts.
Yeah. Bring them to life. Use storytelling, metaphors, demonstrations. Make it memorable, engaging. A bit of showmanship helps ideas land.
Capture attention. And the final principle, number 12. Throw down a challenge. Appeal to that competitive drive, the desire to excel.
Definitely. Charles Schwab used friendly competition to boost motivation. Think about elite groups like the King's Guard. The challenge itself is part of the appeal. Harvey Firestone said the game, the striving, is often more motivating than just the paycheck.
Successful people often love a good challenge, don't they?
They're often energized by it.
So wrapping this up, it feels like the core message from How to Win Friends and Influence People is that really understanding these principles and, actually applying them can genuinely change things for the better in our work and lives.
No question. These aren't just theories. They're actionable insights that have stood the test of time, helping countless people build better relationships for, almost 90 years now.
It's pretty amazing. So as you're listening, maybe think about which of these principles really hits home for you right now. Which one feels most relevant to a challenge you're facing with someone? How could consciously trying just one of these things maybe shift how that interaction goes? Definitely something to mull over. Maybe even dig back into Carnegie's book yourself for more depth on these powerful ideas.